Okay, let's start with something I think we've all felt. You're deep in the flow, right? You're writing a really important follow-up in Gmail, or maybe you're putting together a strategy in a Google Doc, and then you hit a wall.
Yep.
You need that one little piece of information, a service ticket, the deal stage, anything, and you know exactly where it is.
It's not where you are.
It's not where you are. It's sitting in your CRM, probably in HubSpot.
Right. And that moment, that little realization, it just shatters your focus.
Yeah.
I call it workflow friction, which sounds kind of technical, but really it's just that awful rhythm break.
The tab hopping.
The tab hopping begins,
Yeah.
and your flow is gone. And we're at this weird point now where teams are using AI assistants all the time, but those assistants are basically blind. They can't see the business context, the CRM data that they need to be, truly useful.
So we have all this powerful AI, but it's siloed from the very knowledge that actually matters to the business. And that right there brings us to the mission for this deep dive. Our sources are pointing to a really big move to solve this exact issue, the new HubSpot connector for Google Gemini. So we're going to unpack how this makes your CRM context actually follow you inside Google Workspace. The goal, fewer silos, less friction.
Yeah, the whole idea is to take that deep proprietary data you have and just make it available where you're already working. It completely flips the idea that the CRM has to be, a destination you have to travel to.
The destination versus a layer that travels with you. That's a great way to put it. And I think that's the strategic move we really need to dig into first. So if you look at how people work today, AI is everywhere. It's not some future thing anymore. It's infrastructure.
Oh, absolutely. Marketers, sales teams, support reps,
Yeah.
they're all leaning on generative AI for everything from writing a first draft to synthesizing data.
And this is where HubSpot, I think, showed some real foresight. They saw early on that without that connection to customer data, AI is just a neat trick. It's a novelty.
Exactly. That's why they were the first CRM to build connectors for the big platforms, for ChatGPT and for Claude. This Gemini integration is just the next logical step in that same strategy. It's about making sure their customer knowledge is the engine behind any AI tool their customers are using.
So why is that connection so critical? Because, look, for a while now, the difference between a helpful AI and a time-wasting AI has been, it's the difference between generic and actionable.
Yes.
If I ask a normal LLM to write me a follow-up, I get a perfect email, grammatically perfect, but it's canned. It doesn't know my client.
Precisely. The goal with this Gemini connector is, yes, to let you use HubSpot inside Google Workspace, but the real genius is how it changes the quality of the AI's output. When you give the AI access to that deep, real-time CRM context, the context history, the deal records, it stops answering generic questions.
And it starts
solving your specific business problems.
Yeah.
It transforms the large language model from just a content engine into, a large business model.
That's a really powerful idea. Let's slow down on that. What does it actually mean for an AI to be a large business model?
It means the AI is infused with your company's secret sauce, your competitive edge. Think about it. Your customer timeline, your unique deal stages, the products they own, that's proprietary stuff.
Right.
That information is what makes your company different. A generic AI knows grammar. A CRM-aware AI knows the 3 support tickets that Client X had last week, and it knows their deal is stuck because of a budget issue they mentioned 6 months ago in a call.
So it uses that context to do more than just write?
So much more. It recommends the best timing for that email, the right tone. It moves from just generating text to actually generating better business judgment.
So the value isn't that the output sounds smart, it's that it contains knowledge that only you have. That's the real strategic play here. You're combining Gemini's raw intelligence with the deep contextual truth of your own CRM. Okay, so once you grasp the strategy behind this, fusing a powerful AI with your most critical data, the next question is, how does it actually work? How does it feel?
Yeah, the day-to-day.
The day-to-day. And our sources kept coming back to one word, effortless, which frankly is pretty surprising when you're talking about integrating 2 massive platforms like this.
Well, it had to be seamless, right? The whole point is to remove friction, not add a bunch of new steps. So the mechanism is intentionally very simple. Once you handle the setup, and we can talk about that in a bit, the whole thing just happens right where you are.
And this is the key thing for you to visualize. You do not leave your Google Doc. You don't leave your email. You just invoke the connector. You type at HubSpot, and then you just ask your question in plain English.
It's like calling a super smart teammate into your document for a second. A teammate who has perfect memory of every customer interaction.
That's a great analogy.
And this is so important. Gemini becomes your sidekick across all the tools you're already in. We're talking Gmail, Docs, Sheets, and Chat. You're not, running some complicated query. You're just talking to your data.
And the power is in how fluid it is. Let's walk through some of those friction points it removes. So you're in Gmail, you're halfway through an email, and you think, I need to see the last few notes on this client.
The old way is a 5-step process.
Exactly. New tab, login, search, scroll. Here you just type at HubSpot, show me the recent timeline for client Y, and boom, it's right there in your draft window.
Or think about building a proposal in Google Docs. That's a complex task.
Yeah.
You can just ask for a full summary of the company's history, their size,
Yeah.
what they bought before, and that info gets pulled right into your document.
Yeah. So every reference point in your proposal is now perfectly aligned with the CRM, which is your single source of truth. That used to be a manual cross-referencing nightmare.
It was. And, I'm thinking about planning in Sheets, too. Instead of exporting CSVs and toggling windows, you can just pull a live list of deals right there in the spreadsheet while you're updating your pipeline. You could even ask it to create a new segment from that data without ever leaving Sheets.
And for anyone listening who thinks this sounds a little too easy.
Right. What's the catch?
What's the catch? The reason it feels so effortless is that the integration is doing all that heavy lifting of security and querying in the background. It's not copying and pasting. It's securely piping the exact answer you need right into your workspace instantly.
There are no setup gymnastics involved, no exporting. The whole thing is designed to keep you in that state of flow.
Which is really what separates a deep integration like this from just a simple API call. It's a whole different level. So this focus on efficiency, it brings us to what I think is the most practical part of our deep dive, the aha moments. This is where the theory becomes a real, tangible win for specific roles.
Right. How does this actually save you time and make you better at your job?
Exactly. Let's start with the marketer. Their biggest challenge is always scaling communication without it sounding, generic and impersonal.
For marketer, the number one pain point is context. You can't send the same email to a brand new lead and someone who is, one step away from buying.
Okay, so picture this. A marketer is prepping a nurture campaign after a big webinar. They need to target the right people, and they need tailored content fast. The old way is building lists in one tool, drafting emails in another, and just hoping it all lines up.
Now, they're sitting in a Google Sheet, planning out the campaign, and they just type a natural language request. At HubSpot, show me a list of contacts in the lead lifecycle stage who attended our recent webinar and draft a follow-up note I can use in a HubSpot automation.
Wow. The sense of relief there must be huge. Gemini doesn't just pull the list, confirming their segmentation right there in the sheet. It also gives them a first draft of the content.
And because it has that CRM context, it knows their leads and they attended the webinar. The draft is already tailored. It mentions that specific event. It's relevant. It's ready to go.
It's personalized outreach at a massive scale. Okay, let's pivot. The sales rep. For them, time is money. Every second counts.
Yeah, their whole job is shrinking the time between spotting an opportunity and closing it. Priority is everything.
So it's Monday morning. A sales rep needs to figure out their week. Instead of digging through the CRM, they just ask, at HubSpot, show me all deals closing this month over $20,000 and write 2 personalized follow-ups, one for the biggest deal and one for the riskiest.
And they get an instant filtered snapshot of everything that needs their attention. But crucially, the email's Gemini address will pull in specific details from the CRM notes. Things like budget concerns or a product feature they asked about last week.
So it's not just another checking in email.
Not at all. It's an email that proves the rep was listening. That level of high context prep used to take, 20 minutes per deal? Now it takes seconds.
Okay, one more. The support team lead. Their job is all about managing workloads and keeping customers happy proactively.
Right. Their challenge is using all that historical data to figure out the next best action, not just the next step in a ticket. They could have something like, at HubSpot, show me a list of companies assigned to my team that haven't had a touch point in 10 days and recommend the next strategic engagement.
That's fascinating. It's moving beyond just retrieving information into actual strategic recommendation.
That's the leap. Gemini uses the whole interaction, history notes, deal size, support scores, to not just list the companies, but to suggest the why. It'll say, Client A needs a check-in on their new software, or Client B is ready for a cross-sell opportunity based on their high satisfaction scores.
That kind of proactive judgment, gathered and presented instantly, just removes this huge manual burden of cross-referencing everything.
It lets teams move from knowing something to actually acting on it. The friction is just gone.
The efficiency is obviously a huge selling point, but let's get into the practical side for anyone listening who wants to get started, who can actually use this today.
The good news is that the access is it's intentionally broad. The connector is available for all HubSpot customers. Doesn't matter what tier you're on, starter, pro, enterprise, they all get it.
Okay, but there are some requirements on the Google side of things, right?
Yes, a few key things. You need to have a paid Google Workspace plan.
Yeah.
And you have to be using what's called Gemini Alpha.
Which is what, for those of us not in the weeds?
Think of it as Google's advanced enterprise-grade AI model. Your Workspace administrator has to enable it for you. And the last piece is simple but critical. Your email for HubSpot and your email for Google Workspace have to be the same one. That's how it connects securely.
And our sources were very clear about this, so it's important for you to know. For now, this functionality is read-only.
Right.
You can pull all the context you want, you can generate drafts, analyze data, but you can't use it to push, say, a new note or an updated deal stage back into HubSpot. Not yet.
And while that's a limitation, it really is a meaningful first step. It's smart. They're likely ensuring security and stability before opening it up further. But if you connect this to the bigger picture, the future of work, I mean, this is profound.
How so?
We've been saying that the real value of AI isn't just creating content, it's giving people better judgment, better timing, better information.
And that can only happen if the AI is totally soaked in the truth of the business, which lives in the CRM.
Precisely. This kind of integration challenges that whole historical idea of the CRM as this big, heavy program you have to go to. Instead, the CRM becomes this weightless ambient layer that just travels with you.
It's there whenever you call it.
It's there. It turns customer data from something you have to go hunt for into something that just arrives when you need it.
It really is the ultimate antidote to tab hopping and that mental tax we all pay for switching context all day long. So what does this all mean for you as you're listening to this?
The core benefit we've pulled from this deep dive is pretty clear. Teams just get faster, more accurate, and more strategic when their tools stop forcing them to switch contexts.
Mm-hmm.
This integration between HubSpot and Google Gemini is powerful proof that this new model of pervasive context-aware intelligence really works. And it forces you to think a little bigger, beyond just the features. If the new rule of work is that your critical business data will travel with your AI, what does that mean for you? What assumption about traditional data silos and the tools or the processes that keep them standing must you now question in your own workflow?